G'day Duncan, how are you? Brian, thanks for joining us. Just wait for a couple more to come in. G'day Peter, how are you, brother? Hope all's good down in the hood. Roosters, on time. Called Jesus a Hail, thanks for joining us. Cool, hope you're all doing well and good and all happy in your spaces, in your isolation. It's an oxymoron, isn't it? Be happy in your isolation. I might be right for a wee while, but after about, what's it, day 9 now? What day are we now, mate?
I don't even know.
Jeez, I've got no idea either. What day in lockdown are we, guys?
I
I don't know either.
Who's on lockdown?
Who's on lockdown? The whole country's in lockdown. We're all in prison. We're all inmates now. G'day Craig, how are you? Thanks for joining us. G'day Jan, how are you? Hope all's good in the hood. I've got you on the hood today, actually, the hood of my car. Hood. Interesting word, hood. We talk about childhood, don't we? And hoodwinked. We put a hood over our heads to cover our eyes, don't we? Does that mean we're hoodwinked in childhood? G'day Tim, how are you? Thanks for joining us. Marie, thanks for coming in. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands, that's right. Or put your hands together, how's that? So if any of you have seen the last couple of live feeds I've done, you'll know that I've been talking about words and lexicon and context and all those sounds that we attach vibration to, or vibration is attached to by our intent and emotion. All good in your free bubble, Craig? Cool. So I'm just going to have a bit of a standing kōrero. Stay in one place and just randomly go through a few things, because at the moment it's not the norm. That used to be my radio show. I used to have a radio show called Not the Norm, and the subtitle was It's All About You. And I had that for just under a couple of years actually. Probably lucky I didn't have it in these times. I wouldn't have it much longer. The only reason I stopped is I lost my sponsor actually, and I didn't have the cash to continue with it myself. So a lot of these things are going to be probably self-explanatory. I'll just flick through a few of them anyway. G'day Michelle, how are you? Thanks for coming in. Thanks for joining us. Haere mai, haere mai, haere mai. So I talk a lot about vibrations of words, how you use them, and abuse them. Abuse is not using. So now this guy here, Dr. Emoto, was a Japanese guy. Now a lot of people have tried to rebut a lot of his experiments, but and they tried to reproduce them and all the rest of it, but they did it in conditions that weren't favourable to getting the result. So that there was other experiments done in line with the experiments that he did that didn't get the same result, but he could reproduce it because he had the right conditions of the experiments. His book was Messages from Water, and so what he found was that different words had different vibrations, and so what he did is he got, to put it simply, he got like a bucket of water, he took 2 cups of water out of that same bucket. One of them he spoke to in very negative affirmations and unkind words and derogatory comments, and he froze that water. And he did what with the other glass of water he had in his hand. He said positive things too, gave it good vibrations, like love, thank you, used words like that, and live and let live, and all these lovely idioms that we have as underlying foundations to our conduct. And so the glass that he talked negatively to, he put both the glasses in and froze them, and then he got a microscope and looked at the structures of the water after he had done this experiment. And so the ones he had talked nicely to, like this one, was peace, thank you. It was Imagine, John Lennon, Mozart Symphony, love. And the ones he spoke bad to, I will kill you. Interesting picture, that one, actually. Being able to see things within pictures and clouds and the shapes of mountains on the horizons, that's called pareidolia. It's interesting what we see in pictures. We all see different things. And in Japan, there's Fujiwara, is the name of one of the big lakes there. And a whole group of monks got round the lake in different areas of the lake. They surrounded the lake. I don't know how far apart they were, or how many there was, but they got round the lake and they tested the water before their prayer, and then they did it after the prayer. So there's power in words, because words are a frequency, pitch, volume, depth, nuance, wave. And as I say, the universe doesn't speak English, it speaks in frequency. G'day Barry, how are you? Shaz, thanks for joining us. Michelle, thanks for tuning in. So it's all about frequency. It's your water molecules before offering prayer, and then after. Again, thank you. You will make me sick. See, all this is about vibration. And then you go looking into cymatics. Now, as I say, a lot of people with, I'll get back to that, Dr. Emoto, tried to dispel his experiments. Despel. You get that? Dispel his experiments? Because it's all about spelling. They tried to dispel his experiments. But, you only have to think about it a little bit yourself. That the actual fact that, if you sit down and listen to good music, how you doing, mate? You all right? If you sit down and listen to lovely, harmonious music, you feel at peace and at ease and at harmony, obviously. And again, if you listen to heavy metal all the time, or screeching loud music with no form or melody, then you're going to put yourself out of harmony. It's all about pitch, frequency, wave, and we are antennas. We pick up on these things. It depends how sensitive your antenna is as to the levels of vibration you're picking up, of course. And there's ways, you can fine-tune those yourself. So another science is cymatics. You can go and look all these up on the internet. You've got the Alexandra Library at your fingertips here, folks. So you can go and look all this stuff up. And cymatics is, they had a metal plate, and they underneath it they put a speaker underneath it, and passed sound through the speaker, different frequencies, and they threw sand or salt or granules on top of the plate. And as they tuned to different frequencies, because we've all got to be attuned, don't we? Different frequencies, we're all resonating and vibrating, different frequencies, especially now in these times. And so at different harmonic pitches, all these shapes started to emerge. And it's interesting that we have the earlier languages, Hebrewic, Abrahamic languages. They often emulated the shapes. They were often the shapes of the language were often within the these geometric shapes that were created via sound. Sounds good, eh? Sounds reasonable. Does that resonate? Reasonableness? Or resonates, isn't it? So we have signs, symbols or characters called letters via phonics and vowels, lowercase and uppercase, making the alphabet, and we print it in code. Cipher or script is called spelling, and when put together correctly are called words, which we write using a pen on paper, becoming a verse in terms and sentences on a page, which when bound is a book full of information or news for the king's court. Because the word news, look at that word. The word news, most people don't know where that word comes from. The word news comes from, in the old days, when the kings wanted to find out what was going on around his borders, he would send a rider off to the north, one off to the east, and one off to the west. And they would come back with all the information that's going on in his kingdom or his domain. And so he would have the news. And that's where the news comes from, folks. Here's me sign. It's all about the signs and vibrations. Ooh, look at that. This one's real phony. It's got all sorts of code built in. Con me, why? Hey, why? It's all about us, isn't it? So, get back to the book, get back to the hood, because I've got my book on the hood. I was talking earlier about being hoodwinked and childhood. What's going on there? Something funny going on there. Oh, sorry, it was George Bernard Shaw, the quote I was trying to recall the other day. The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. So we've got to think about what it is we think about, folks. Think about what it is you're thinking about, because you're creating the vibration. So, seeds. We have signs, symbols, or caricatures called letters via phonics and vowels, lowercase and uppercase, capitals no less, making the alpha beta, and when printed in code, decipher or scripture is all called spelling. And when words put together correctly are called words. And when put together correctly are words, which we write. You have rights, don't you? And it's called cursive. It's cursive when we write, isn't it? Oh, wait a minute, when we write it's cursive. What's going on there? Is that trying to negate the vibration of being right? Is there something going on there? And we use a pen, which is a cell, isn't it? And we're in jail in a cell, in a pen. Is it a pig pen? Oh, chicken pen. On paper. Now, paper's stationary, isn't it? It's also called stationary. Because we've got to think, and then we've got to put a bit of ink when we think. On the page. Page, what were pages? Pages were, didn't the king call the pages? And which when bound, which is to bind, and we're all bound somewhere, aren't we? We're all bound for things, aren't we? What are you bound for? Where are you bound? There's a book. Cops like to book you, don't they? Don't they book you? Oh, wait a minute, what's going on there? Full of information. Because you need to be information to be information. News. Again, I talked to you about the news. And as for kings, the king's court. The king's court. He wears a crown. He's at the crown's court. Court of the crown. G'day, Mitch. How are you? Larry? Michelle? Oh, I said hello to Michelle, sorry. So I'm just down here in Isle Park today. It's a little bit cooler today. Bit of wind around. I tried to get down here a bit earlier, but I couldn't really do that. Just, you know, you make plans. You know what I said earlier about making God laugh? Make God laugh. Tell him your plans. Oh, yeah, I'm off to Taupo tomorrow. I'm off to Queenstown. Ooh, yeah. No, you're not, folks. There's other things going on. Universe is one song or one truth, yeah? In verse. So words cast spells. It's called spelling. Words are energy. Use them wisely. G'day, Rebecca. How are you? Thanks for joining us. Abracadabra is actually from the Aramaic, which is before Hebrew, phrase. Oh, I'm not going to try and pronounce that, shall I? Avra. Oh, it is Avra with a V. Abracadabra, which means literally, I will create as I speak. And the cells of your body react to everything that your mind says. Negativity brings down your immune system. Think about that in these times, folks. Get that? Our actions and our words are our choices. These choices determine our lives. Here it is. This is the other one. And it was Philip K. Dick who said, the basic tool for the manipulation of reality is the manipulation of words. If you can control the meaning of words, you can control the people who must use the words. Start listening to the lexicon that's coming out of your TV sets, folks, and choose your next words carefully. This is Sparta. So by and large, language is a tool for concealing the truth. Oh shit, how does that work, Norm? See, because the English language is known as an equivocal language, folks. The word equivocal is synonymous, which means the same as, duplicit, unclear, and vague. That's why the North American Indians said that white man speaks with forked tongue. So we're using a language that is divisive by its nature. And again, I say to you that this is why many of us know there's something wrong. There's something not wrong with what's going on. It's just not quite right. I can't put my finger on it. Oh, this is why, folks, because it's equivocal. The tools that we've been given to communicate are defective by their nature. It's about dialectics. And it's from the Greek preposition dia, which comes before words. Prep is preposition. It's the preposition. Oh, that tells you. Again, once you start looking at the words and the spells within the spelling, you'll be able to decipher it. And then you'll be able to see the many layers of communication that's going on in the signs. And then you can read. And once you've done that, you're read. So dialectics, from the Greek preposition dia, through by way of, and the Latin noun lectus, which means choice. See, the illusion of free choice, people. Doesn't matter what, left wing, right wing, it's all one bird, and it's a vulture. It's not a very nice one. Actually, I've already done this one with you, and I've added a lot more to that one, so I won't go into that one so much. G'day Adam, thanks for coming along, thanks for joining us. Some of these, you wouldn't believe this, some of the stuff I used to use with Masako in our lessons, mate. That's how under she was. But anyway, mind control and surveillance, folks. It won't be this obvious. Oh, wait a minute, hey, get back here. Get back in here, you rat bag. Stop it. He's all bark. So yeah, where were we? A clear policy of mind control going on, folks. Oh yeah, job, you'll run after your jobs. Yeah, the word job, or Job, is it Job or job? It's Hebrew. It's Hebrew word, translates to mean persecuted. So you run off to your job, to your persecution, and that's what it feels like too, doesn't it? It kind of feels like that. So when you understand the word and the definition of it, then you can kind of figure out a bit more of what's going on. So, but then the legal definition is official public business for private dishonest gain. Go and check that out. That's the legal definition of job. Official public business for private dishonest gain. You couldn't make it up, could you? But it's caveat emptor, folks. Remember caveat emptor? Let me show you caveat emptor. Caveat emptor, folks. What does that mean? Oh, buyer beware. Oh, but how did the Romans define that? Let those that be deceived be deceived. Maxims of law. You need to learn about maxims of law, folks. Yeah. So, I told you about that one. So the word Joe, well, that was good find. So these are deciphering the words and getting down to the well, the etymology of the words actually, and the core vibration of them, because they all have vibration. Remember, as I started again, I'll just show because there's a couple of new people in there. G'day, John. Thanks for joining us. See, because it's all about frequency, pitch, volume, depth of the wave. And we all like to wave at each other, don't we? We all wave. I wave, hello, wave. Oh, we're back on the sea again. We've got our vessels on the sea and we're waving. So, this is what's going on. Employment. Oh, what does employment mean, Norm? Oh, the word employment is from two words. Em, which is the preposition of employ. See that? Employment. Em is for. So if you want to give more power to someone, you empower them. You empower them. Ploy. What's ploy, Norm? Oh, that's deceit. Oh, that's right. That's deceit, isn't it? To ploy is deceit. And meant in Latin, this is Latin, means mind, folks. So employment is, it means deceit. So employment is literally for deceit. And of course, you earn, which is something you put dead ashes in, isn't it, folks? You earn. Are you earning your wage? Are you waging? What do you wage? Oh, war. You're waging war with your earn. G'day, David. Thanks for joining us. Just down here doing a little kōrero on the hood of my car, because we've all been hoodwinked. We've all been, oh, shouldn't show you that. All been hoodwinked. That's what's going on. And you know, everyone's thinking, oh, they can't do that. Why can they do that? The government can't do that. They wouldn't do that. Why are they doing exactly what the opposite of what the people want? Well, they're not. They're doing exactly what they're telling you they're doing. But you're just not reading the language right. I mean, when John Key or whoever it is, whatever puppet sits on the seat of your leadership, whatever puppet sits up there, mate, and they stand up there and say, oh, we're going to find a solution. What's a solution, folks? Solution is money, isn't it? That's liquidity. Where do you find solutions? You've got no solution, you're insolvent. Oh, you run out totally of solution, then you're bankrupt. Your banks rupture, don't they? The banks rupt. Oh, no. Banks are ruptured, we've got no money. So he's telling you, or she, or whoever the muppet is that sits in that seat, all they're telling you is that they're going to tax you more. And it's a tax. A tax. A tax. Another tax. Every corner you turn round, there's a tax. They're attacking you. And they're telling you. They're telling you quite clearly. And what do they pay you in, folks? What do you pay? Or you always got to pay. Someone's got to pay. It's interesting, actually. And this is why, this is a perfect example of why your kids aren't allowed to learn Latin or Greek or any of these other languages. Because the English language is encoded with all those different frequencies, all those different phonic Phoenicians, the phony Phoenicians, and their water language, their language of water. Because we're all in a relationship, aren't we? We can all relate to the ship. Oh, are you all on board? Oh, is it above board or below board? That's why you sign on the line, folks, because you're above board. And the Queen, when she signs a document, she signs at the very top. Why would she do that? Oh, because she doesn't stand under what she's written. That's why she doesn't do that, folks. She signs, puts her signature, her sign of nature, her signatory, she's a signatory, but she puts her signature at the top of the page. Remember the pages? What did the pages do? Oh, they brought information to the king, didn't they? I just, this flower was screaming out to me, so I thought I'd come and show you. Beautiful, isn't it? See, that says nothing, but speaks volumes. I mean, there's still a few people around and about. I'm just out here with my signs. I was hoping to talk to a few people, but I got down here a bit late today. Oh, me mate Dave's over here. Dave's going to say hello.
Oh, yeah, hello. Yeah, if you're tuning into Norm's, yeah, we're here.
Dave was my cameraman yesterday too, folks.
I'm the local.
He's the local yokel. Lives in his car. Lost his job. Girlfriend kicked him out. Shit, you know, you're lucky, folks. You got 4 walls. This guy's got 4 wheels, and that's it. It's not his car, actually. It's his automobile. It gives him autonomous mobility. But that's another story. Okay, where were we? Dollar. Oh, yeah, the Latin Dictionary and Grammar Aid, dollar. Dolans. Oh, dolans. What's dolans? Oh, I'm sorry, this is a bit graphic-y. I obviously tried to blow it up from a smaller picture. Dolans means painfully. Dolio, to suffer pain, to be pained, grieve. Dolor, D-O-L-O-R, is pain, grief, misery, pain, suffering. Dolos, slyly, deceitfully. Dolosus, crafty, cunning, sly and deceitful. Dolus, fraud, deceit, guile, treachery, a trap. So you will run out and earn your dollars. Oh yeah, the word receipt, and you'll get a receipt. Oh, they give you a receipt. It's old. It's actually old tongue of English. It's tongue of old. Oh, I've missed a word out there. It's tongue of old English actually, and can be rabbit hole translated into the record of fraud, known as deceit, which is ploy, employment. Employ for the employment. Deceit of your mind, that's what that word means. And this, what do they call these? They call these promissory notes. They're called dollars, but these are also called promissory notes. And a promissory note is a promise to pay at some point in the future. When you use one of these to purchase goods, all you are doing is exchanging a debt with more debt. The banks that issue these promissory notes charge interest. Oh, I wonder whose interest that's in. It's not in your interest, is it? Oh, shit. So they charge. Oh, remember I talked about charge? What do we do when we charge? Usually in battle. The captain says, charge, doesn't he? Hey? You want to start your car. You charge. Are we talking about electricity? Are we being in accord? Oh, are we in accordance? Oh, are we consenting? We plug the cord into the consent, don't we? Maybe we're consenting to something. Maybe we're being in accord with something that we don't quite realise what is actually going on. So they charge interest, and it's not in your interest, folks. It's never in your interest. And what so the banks that issue these promissory notes charge interest for doing so, which you pay for with your income tax. Income tax. What's our income tax department called, folks? They're telling you right in front of your face. They're called inland revenue. Who's the land? Are you sure? Are you sure you're the land? Essentially, your labour is used as collateral on the debt the government owes the banks for lending them their notes. And by pumping this fake money into the economy, it creates inflation which devalues your spending power. You starting to get pissed off yet? You should be. So it's all fraud, folks, and you're being deceived. And like what this here means is, it's like orange juice, It's like if you have a certain amount of concentrate in your orange juice and you pour more and more water in, it gets more and more diluted, so it gets weaker and weaker. Yeah? We get that, eh? Well, that's the same analogy with the banking system, folks. As soon as they start printing more money, it's a sly tax. It's a very sneaky tax. It's attacking you from behind. And that's how they roll. And so what it does, it's slowly devaluing the purchase power of your dollar, which is your pain. Remember, the dollar's pain, folks. So this is what's going on. It's all about devaluing you, Banks. So whenever a bank loans or banks make a loan, it creates a deposit in the borrower's bank account, thereby creating new money. So we give the banks the power to create money and then borrow that money from them and pay interest on it. Word comes to mind there somewhere? Yeah, that's how the Federal Reserve works. I'm going to I usually do this with a whiteboard, but I wonder if I can explain this to you without seeing. No, I can't really. It's alright, I'll miss that one, won't worry about that. Oh, mortgage. Here's another thing. Most of you got a mortgage out there, haven't you? Mortgage is a Latin word, folks. Go, get yourselves a good Latin dictionary. There's a couple online, actually. I've got a few paper ones and hardcover ones. They're very, very interesting, extremely interesting. So mortgage, mortgage. The word mortgage is made up of two words. Mort, meaning death, as in mortality, and gage, which in Old Latin meant to pledge. So the literal translation of the word mortgage is a pledge of death. Think about that. So when you go and sign up as a signatory and you sign your surname, your SUR name, not your SIR name, your SUR, that means you're a surety for something. You're going into a surety for something, folks. And that's the pen. The pen that you get yourself in. See, slavery before, slavery now. Before and now. You see how that works? Private bankers, mate. Government. See what's going on there? You got any questions? Because it's painful, isn't it? Those dollars. They're pain. They're dolans, folks, from the Latin word. Dolans. What else we got here? Oh, yeah, banks. I've gone through this with you before, I think. Where do you find banks? You find banks on the sides of the river. What do the banks on the sides of the river do? They control the currents that go to the sea. Do you see? The currency, the water, the liquidity. Can you fathom? Oh, fathoms. How many fathoms is that? Oh, that's unfathomable, that liquidity. They control the current sea. The banks. The banks on the sides of the river. The river that flows to the sea. The current sea. Oh, this is a goodie, eh? Especially at this time. It's toilet paper. We all need toilet paper, don't we? 50 rolls each. Because we're in the shit. So, liquid water. See, do you see? Liquidity. It's like toilet paper. You're in the shit if you don't have it. Indeed. This is how government rolls, folks. Our government. There's the budget. Oh, there's the budget. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, shit. Oh, there's the people. Look, even me mate over there lives in his car's got his shit roll. Well, government's here to help, folks. We're here to help. How's their help got us? How's their help? Oh, did you know? Here's a fact for you. Go and look it up. Prove me wrong. In 1956, New Zealand was the richest country in the world. In 1956, the richest country in the world. That's what it was. How you doing? What do you reckon? No, well, we don't, but we've got to ask questions, eh? We don't know. You're right. We've been lied to a lot, though, by them, haven't we? For me, if people lie to me once, that kind of does it. It's just me, though. I don't know about other people. Anyway, good terms, good value. All the dollars in our language. All these dollars in our language. See, good value. Dollars, purse, in. Oh, you're a person, aren't you? Oh, what's in your purse? You're worth your weight in gold, mate. Hey, you. Hey, you. You're worth your weight in gold. Oh, here's the invoice. Oh, you got the invoice. Oh, you'd be an atonement then, wouldn't you? If you got the invoice. Sounds good, eh? Interest free. And you say, I'm broke. Oh, I'm broken. Oh, I'm broken. But there's a sale on. There's a sale on. 50% off. 50%. Yep, percent. We got any cents left? Oh, no cents left. Oh, and here's a bill. Oh, bill. Oh, shit. What's the spelling of that? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Time is money, isn't it? Timey. What does that tie you to? Ties you down, doesn't it? Or does it tie you up? I suppose it depends whether your cup's half full or half empty. If it ties you up or ties you down, who knows? And your company? Oh, we all love company, don't we? Oh, it's insolvent. Solvent's another liquid. Bankrupt, ruptured, no liquidity. Oh, use your sense and it all adds up, eh? It's pretty simple, folks. But then, sometimes the individual is handicapped by coming face to face with a conspiracy so monstrous he cannot believe it exists. And who said that? J. Edgar Hoover. He was the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Well, shit, he should know. What do you reckon? I don't know. I just listen to him. He sounds like he knows what he's on about. So, here we go. A citizen. Oh, sorry, a society. Oh, here's the thing I do. Here's the thing we can do. We can all do this together. I'll show you how easy it is to get you into contract. I want yous. I don't know where my dog's gone. I want yous to... Oh, there he is. There's my little dog. My little dog. My little dog. He can see the signs. Smell them. You can smell them. I want you to all put your hands up if you think you're a good member of society. He's all good members of society? Right. So you've just gone into contract, so I need to ask you, what society is it that you just claim to be a member of? Can you please tell me? Because societies usually have fees, and you subscribe, and you go to a meeting or something every now and then, won't you? Hey, that's what societies do, don't they? And you know, they have a bit, that's a kind of a culture, isn't it? It's a cult. Aren't those societies cults? Or cultures? Oh no, they're cultures. What's a culture? Oh, that's how we experiment in a petri dish. The scientists do, don't they? And they give it a stir up every now and then, the culture. They've got to stir the culture up every now and then. Hey, the society, the members of the society. Are you a member of society? Are you a good member of society? Oh, be careful. You might just be entering into a contract there, folks. And as you know, I've told you before, contracts are painful. They hurt. Ask any woman who's given birth. She'll tell you all about contractions. Okay, Nutsko, how you doing? Christine, thanks for joining us. Just out here at the park. G'day, Rose. Thanks for tuning in. Who else have we got there? Robin, how are ya? Haven't heard from the boy for a couple of days, actually. I have to get hold of him. Find out what's going on. So, yeah, a society, folks. Are you a good member of society? Oh, who has citizens? I wonder what that word means. Citizens. Oh, sure is a dictionary handy. Could go and look that one up anyway. A society whose citizens refuse to see and investigate the facts, who refuse to believe that their government and their media will routinely lie. Hey? Who refuse to believe... Oh, yeah. Who refuse to believe that the government and their media will routinely lie to them and fabricate a reality contrary to verifiable facts, is a society that chooses and deserves the police state dictatorship it is going to get, said Ian Williams Goddard. Not me. I didn't say that. I didn't say nothing about that. It's nothing to do with me. I'm just researching. I've just searched out what's already been there, you know. I'm just looking into what's already... Because I'm a curious George. Bit of a curious George myself. Got me in a bit of trouble at school being a bit of a curious George, you know, that pesky little kid that asks questions all the time. Oh, that was me, folks. The kids are like that too. Don't know where they get that from. Pisses me off. Anyway. So where are we? We're on the hood. That's right, we're on the hood. See, we're on the hood of the car. We've been hoodwinked. It's childhood. Oh, did we get hoodwinked in childhood? Oh, it's Robin Hood. Who's he robbing? He's robbing you in the hood. Rothschild, isn't it? The Red Shield, I do believe. In the Shire. In the Guild. I think they were in the Guild, weren't they, folks? They were gilded. I know they were lords and barons. So everyone that lives in a modern society is an employee of government. You work your ass off all year round, and then they want you up to 40% of your doing so. They spend it however they like, with your permission, on things that usually just make the world worse, mainly war. That also means if you work 40 hours a week, times 50, you've worked 2,000 hours, and 800 of those hours you were literally slaving for the government, of which most of us don't even trust. But we try to get on with life in fear of what they might do to us if we revolt. They call us revolting too, don't they? Oh, the pedants are revolting again. That, my friends, is literally the definition of terrorism and theft, said Don Freeman. And if we want to clear up the definition of the word terrorism, to save you going and look it up, here it is, folks. Look at it. See that? Terrorism. It should be L-T-E-R-A, actually, because terra's the earth, isn't it, folks? Terra, the terra firma. Oh, we're back on the land. Yay! Oh, it's an ism. Ooh, what's an ism? Go look up what isms are. You know, like, I can't think of any. I'll tell you. So, here we go. Terrorism, folks, is a system of government by terror, intimidation. Terrorist, one who rules by intimidation. That's not me making that up, folks. You know, if I could have another nice flowery definition for government is terrorism. It's telling you right there. If I could have another flowery definition for you, then I would give it to you. But unfortunately, I haven't. I only have the truth and the facts, as far as I can find them. And if I'm wrong, please tell me, because God knows I want to be wrong. I would love to be wrong. Ignorance is the single greatest tool of oppression, folks. And condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance. And see, this guy here, I think he might have known something, eh? He might have known a little bit about what he was talking about. So I would kind of concur with that guy. He's got a few more brain cells than me left. Oh, he hasn't actually. He's dead, isn't he? So that's probably my corridor for today, man. I'm going to leave you with that. Knowledge is power, man. Raise your vibrational levels. Get in your field of energy. Get in your field of love. Find your centre. Get harmonised. Do whatever that is. And if that means sitting down having a whiskey, or sitting down having a joint, or whatever it is. Don't go anywhere near that pee fucking crap, though. Yeah, you've got to stay off that pea crap, people. That's got to be stamped out real quick. That's just another tool of your government's, another tool in the government's toolbox, folks. You know, get yourselves clean. Get yourselves clear. Get yourselves centered. Breathe and clear your mind. And see light. And you will see the light. Thanks for joining us. Love yous all. Spread the the love far and wide, folks. In kindness, empathy, compassion, understanding, non-judgment. Try that one. Try non-judgment. I get out here with my sign and I can just tell by the body language of people before they're even 10 feet from my sign. I can tell where they're at. I can see how they vibrate. Coronavirus is a hoax, folks. Convince me otherwise. Because they're trying to con me. And I want to know why. Because I got my eyes on my family. See, my eyes are on my family, folks. So should yours be. And you need to evaluate your family and how big that is. And start expanding it. And I, my friends, am essential to my family. So are you. Wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever your family is. Love and light. Let's grow. And get out here. Come on, folks. I'm getting out here every day. I'm going to have my little sign down here in Isa Park. I'm going to do my little corridor, my little silent protest, and I'll talk to anyone who wants to talk to me. Because I like to tie things down, tighten things down. That's what we do when we talk, isn't it? Engineers talk things down, tighten things down. Let's get to the nitty-gritty of things, eh? Let's get back to the heart of the matter, because your heart's in your body, and heart is where the home is. That's where your home is. So wherever you are, you're home. Beautiful. Love and light. See you later.